Hello there YouTube and welcome back to The Zone here on Reality Zone. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do the second of one of Chris's quote-unquote greatest moments, because I'm not entirely sure who looks great for this next part, and just to make sure that nothing bad happens, you could probably make out that you're not actually seeing anything on camera, and there's a good reason for that. Well, not anything on screen. It's because I am not going to show She Came for CWC. More or less, we're just going to discuss it, and I will show the things that, I can actually show. And this is Chris's second message concerning the image. And by the way, that is not Crystal, whose eyes are censored. That is Megan, as he proudly admits to, quote-unquote, fingering one of his only friends. She Came for CWC.jpg is a Rule 34 picture that Chris drew as a part of a campaign to fight Encyclopedia Dramatica. He calls this fighting, he says, by replacing negativity with positivity. Right. Arguably the most scandalous of all Chris's artistic canon, this single image managed to invoke much drama. It put an end to the closest relationship Chris had ever had with a non-family member, his friendship with Megan Schroeder, and the consequences of uploading it online have continued to face him for years afterwards. In fact, to the very day, to be honest. At first, people believed the picture to be of his imaginary twin sister, Crystal. In order to defend his fictional sister's honor, Chris edited the article to confirm that it was in fact Megan. He also angrily declined the scurrilous... How the hell does this... I've never actually heard the word scurrilous in a sense before, because that's friggin' my surname right there, and I've never heard it sounded like that or put into this context, especially concerning Chris. These scurrilous rumors in the Madman Rising video shouting that it was Megan. While this is less disturbing than Chris wanting to have an incestuous relationship with his own fictitious twin sister, it is notably creepy that it is one of his only friends, with whom he had no romantic or sexual relationship, no matter how much he tried anyway. Yeah, again, there's still things here I just straight up cannot show, so I'll just keep going. Enjoy the background while you guys have it, because I still think it's a nice little touch. Background. When Christopher first discovered the ED page, he was disturbed by the number of pickles on the site. Using his powers of autistic logic, Chris decided that the best response would be to replace these images with images of things that Chris, quote-unquote, likes, hence replacing negativity with positivity. He also believed the information overload would be too much for the trolls to bear and would scare them into deleting the thread. In many ways, you could almost say me uploading this many videos just in one day is a information overload, but unfortunately, it's not quite the same as what Chris was trying to do. On the 11th of November 2007, Chris uploaded several new original images to ED, including She Came for Quick.jpg. All were varying degrees of horrifying, but She Came for CWC.jpg proved to be the most appalling, leaving trolls in total shock. If Chris was trying to overload the trolls with information about an exceptionally individual he was, it certainly worked, as we would soon find out the aftermath. The analysis. The drawing fails in so many ways that it manages to capture the true essence of fail that is Chris. Chris demonstrated the artistic skills of an 8-year-old. Depth, perception, and proportion are straight up non-existent. Megan looks as flat as the paper she was drawn on. He also shows a complete unfamiliarity with the female anatomy. The vagina is not one long hole, and you could never do that sort of thing with a real vagina, looking like that. Megan's body lacks any curves whatsoever. Chris should probably start paying better attention to women in porn, as then he would know that girls' hips become more pronounced, thus making it appear as if their waists snip in, instead of being straight up and down, like a little boy. He also shows unfamiliarity with human anatomy in general. Megan's leg seems to start right out of the groin, while her hips are directly behind them. Her right hand seems to be permanently stuck doing the Vulcan salute from Star Trek. Also, it looks like neither Chris nor Megan have elbows, joints, or even bones for that matter. What is supposed to be her foot looks like a deformed flipper. And I think actually, yeah, just one quick check. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now I can, now I think the coast is clear. So, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm not putting anything to risk here. Let's see. It looks as if Chris and Megan have no elbows, joints, or even bones for that matter. What is supposed to be her foot looks like a deformed flipper. The lack of any elbows on Chris's arms provides credence for the following piece of analysis. Chris is somehow reaching over his left shoulder with his right hand, despite the fact that his elbow remains near his side, creating an effect straight out of MC Esch's Darkest Nightmares. Due to the perspective of Chris's forearm, his forearm is either floppy and bent backwards towards Megan, or Chris's hand is actually nowhere near his partner's parts. Chris's right forearm is also horribly elongated in comparison to his left. In this version of Chris were to be viewed from the front, his right arm would probably drag along the ground. Megan's right nipple looks at first to be a sixth finger, suggesting that Chris messed up more than usual, while drawing the right and decided to turn it into a nipple. The vagina in question appears to be either glowing or shooting out a powerful gust of wind. Chris probably meant to convey that Megan was wet and or squirting, not that her vagina was literally having a fart, but due to his own stupidity, he drew her cum around and outside the vagina instead of coming from inside it, leading to the glowing infernal cunt for the ages effect shown in the picture. Also, vaginal fluid is not blue. Maybe that was just stained because of, the markers he had to use for this picture. Megan's pubic hair, which was probably supposed to be a landing strip, in this drawing bears a slight resemblance to Hitler's mustache. Coincidentally, Megan had a fetish for German soldiers. It is also quite far up on her body and looks like some kind of messed up happy trail instead of pubic hair. Chris pays close attention to the parts that interest him, namely genitalia and bosoms, yet had to squeeze in a tiny head, most likely because he started with the former and realized, oh, she needs a face. He also shows clear attention to his medallion of Phil, his heterochromia, etc. Note the retarded pun, a reinforcement of Chris's narcissism, that when a woman's organs, it's for his sake and not for her own pleasure. 1 second. Oh, I heard. Right, where were we? Note the retarded pun, a reinforcement of Chris's narcissism, that when a woman orgasms, it's for his sake and not for her own pleasure. As he titled it, She Came for CWC, emphasis added, plus a smug look on his face as he gives a thumbs up while fingering her seals the deal. He's wearing his solitary medallion while fingering a woman. He stated that, ideally, he liked to be wearing his medallion for his first time. Fuck me sideways. Chris's head is deformed and oval-shaped, and his eyes appear to be very set far up his skull, being where most people's hairlines or eyebrows should be. This can be associated with the fact that Chris appears to have drawn himself hastily. Even in some of Chris's earlier artworks, he depicted himself with something resembling an actual jawline, but not here. There is the fact that the girl in the drawing is his best and only friend, Megan, and he sees nothing wrong with it other than the fact that it's on the internet, where she and millions of others can see it. Motivation. Chris apparently thought that uploading pictures of him figuring chinas would actually counter the homosexuality prevalent on the ED page. He posted pornographic drawings of several shippings from the comics, which happened to include him and Megan. He and Megan had some sort of self-fulfillment relationship in the comics, so we can assume Chris was imagining this from the very beginning. And the drama that ensued. With ED, Chris first uploaded the image to ED. It captioned, "Your sister has come for me." Exactly what he meant here is disputed, but it had the unintended effect of leading ED's users to widely conclude that the picture represented Chris's sister, the fictional character Crystal. Given the nature of Chris's artwork, any two females with long brown hair are easily mistaken for each other. Over the next few months, the image was removed and replaced a few times over the course of Chris's simmering edit war against ED. It didn't become a serious hot potato until March 2008. However, when Megan discovered the picture and learned that it was meant to be a picture of her, Chris, not realizing that it would probably be better to cut his losses and let the trolls believe that he wanted to screw his imaginary sister, spilled the beans himself. In between bombarding Megan with apologies via email, he went on a desperate campaign to remove the image from his ED page. Chris spent most of a week trying to remove the image, trying to delete references to Megan from the article, trying to erase random bits of the article in order to camouflage his real intentions, and otherwise failed to realize that once something goes up on Wiki, you can't make it come back down. Amazingly, he even tried to replace the image with a cropped version which just involved the vagina. Way to go, Chris. As though Megan were only angry about her and Chris's facial features being depicted and would be satisfied if the image just showed his hand disappearing up her radiant quim. ED admins quickly reverted his edits and eventually protected the page once it was obvious that Chris was up to something. On the 18th of March, Chris admitted defeat in his own disturbing way and edited the image's caption, as well as several other captions around the article, to make it clear that the woman depicted is Megan, not Crystal. Even though I really am now beginning to suspect that it was meant to be Crystal all along. Over the next few days, he made a number of other depreciating and self-pitying changes and additions to the page series of images, before giving up on editing ED for 6 months. With Megan, by the 12th of March 2008, Megan had discovered the full extent of what Chris had written and drawn about her around the internet, and practically the fact that she'd starred in his own cartoon fantasy porn. While failing to get the image off the ED page over the next several days, Chris sent her a series of messages trying to put out the fire. Some of his attempts to explain the image to Megan are downright bizarre. It's hard to do justice to the original emails. At one point, he seemed to think Megan was offended because she didn't understand the act on display, and went off on a frighteningly awkward explanation of what a hand job is. In another email, Chris confirmed the suspicion of many trolls that he had entertained throughout thoughts of sexually assaulting Megan. If I didn't have the foresight to put my pent-up frustrations and feelings in the form of something, I might have become an abusive maniac. His words, not mine, ladies and gentlemen. Generally, Chris's quote-unquote apologies are a classic display of his insensitivity and narcissism in action. He shows little remorse for creating and publishing the image, while offering plenty of woe is me whining about the ED bullies. In a message from the 18th of March, he actually had the gall to tell Megan that no matter how bad she might be feeling, he himself has definitely got it worse. It always friggin' makes me laugh whenever Chris thinks he can just say shit like that and, completely miss the point. After sending several messages and receiving little in the way of a response from Megan, Chris appeared to have given up on winning back her trust, which coincided with the slacking of his campaign to remove the image from ED, and the increasingly self-hating tone of his edits there. On the 23rd of March, Megan finally sent him 2 brief replies to the effect of, "Leave me alone." Those marked the end of the active drama over the image. Chris stopped editing ED around the same time. Convenient. As a coda to the fiasco, Chris tried once more to repair his relationship with Megan, about a month later, sending a message with a mix of everyday news and creepy stalkerish longing. Given some time to consider the implications of his earlier messages, especially the parts where he brought up the prospect of raping her, Megan slammed the door shut, saying, "I'm afraid I can't trust you anymore." This remains their last known communication. I'm applauding Megan here. She knew fine well what the fuck she was doing. And I think Chris did as well. Although in Chris, it's, It is debatable how dramatic was the effect of She Came for CWC on Chris' relationship with Megan. While it is beyond dispute that Megan severed all contact with Chris due to said image, it might be that she was already trying to avoid his presence prior to discovering he had drawn cartoon porn of her. Mims and Lucas' account of Chris's time at the game place indicates that Megan was avoiding Chris before she found out about She Came for CWC. According to Mims, Megan would usually hide behind me and Lucas to avoid Chris, especially after the drawings of her got leaked, emphasis added. It's not exactly clear if by leaked, Mims refers to the drawing being uploaded online, the drawing being found by Megan or something else. Regardless, in the rest of the discussion of Megan, Mims and Lucas makes no mentions of She Came for CWC, and seem to exclusively attribute Megan's withdrawal from Chris to his unwanted romantic advances. And just so... Okay, there's nothing bad there. Today, it was wishful thinking. Chris describing his motive for drawing She Came for CWC rejected mailbag. And you see, this is actually discussed at a panel at MagFest, but because it's so distorted and it's probably going to be even worse through the main screen, there's no way you could tell what this is, so fortunately I could just leave that there. Chris's remorse turned out, not surprisingly, to be fake, as he went and re-uploaded the picture for his sleazy Sonichu and Rosechu's love shack, citing the fact he needed sexy images. The pain he caused a female friend means nothing compared to his lust for E-fame. The original drawing itself was said to be ripped up and stored in a crumple lope. Chris's scrapbook with the crumple lope inside surprisingly survived the destruction of Chris's house. Years later, the consequences of drawing She Came for CWC are still being felt by Chris. In an email sent to someone around October 2013 by a former high school gal pal of Chris, she revealed that she was so sickened and disgusted by the image, in particular Chris's thumbs up gesture, that she had no desire to ever speak to Chris again, and noted that she was one of the only one of Chris's former high school classmates who felt that way. On the 4th of November 2013, Chris put out a statement saying he regretted drawing She Came for CWC, stated that he destroyed the original drawing and does not possess any image files of the thing. He also stated he forgave Megan, Snyder, and Walsh. Prompted by reading a fan comic about him, in which a scene is devoted to Megan's reaction to She Came for CWC, Chris commented, "How could they have been mutual after that, period? And now, despite the original piece being totally torn apart, it still reappears to haunt me. When will that symbol of my sin of lust be long forgotten? It should be forgiven." Also, again, Chris does not seem to exemplify much realms of forgiven or, shame or guilt. "Soon, I pray, I continue to repent." Also, you might want to continue to say, "I apologize to Megan even though I know she can't hear me, but I am sorry nonetheless." Due to the financial crisis, Chris offered She Came for CWC and other porn artwork for the sale of $1,000 in April of 2018 on eBay, where the set quickly sold the next day to the Teen Troon Squad. Chris just chopped up the drawing into little squares it could easily be reassembled from. Rather than truly destroying it, this combined with Chris wanting to make money off it, cast yet more doubt over Chris's feelings of any sort of remorse for drawing it. And just to make sure that, we don't see that image ever again, hopefully that's the last time we actually have to reference She Came for CWC, and I think we'll just leave it there. So that was the second of Chris's quote-unquote greatest moments, although I'm not exactly sure what was great about that, apart from, that Megan did the right thing and cut all ties regarding Chris, which I think Megan was the only one. She was both the victim but the victor in all of this, so props to Megan for, doing the right thing and just getting herself out of that nasty situation. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of revisiting Chris's greatest moments, and this was She Came for CWC. Please make sure to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the reading yourself. Please also make sure to also like and subscribe to get daily notifications when my videos come out. And I hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.